love story.
We're gonna be talking about.
Was that? Did I do it?
I don't know.
Too
That's
hard
a little
there?
weird.
It was strange.
Our love story.
How we met.
So just
where
like,
we met, when we met, all the juicy details.
every little bit. All right. So should we give like some backstory? Like
We should start at the beginning, obviously. So, for those of you that don't know, me and Cody both used to be in the Air Force.
Yep. I was in for like
10 years.
10 years, but I was in for 2 years before.
Oh,
you
like a
got-
year and a half, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my first place that I was stationed was in Osan Air Base, Korea. After that, I got to go to Lakenheath,
England.
England.
Yep.
And I was there for like a year. And I was partying it up and doing a whole bunch of, just drinking too much and smoking and stuff. And then,
Well, then I joined the military.
yeah.
Because you're older than I am.
Yeah.
So I joined later. Right out of high school. And my first base was England.
Yep.
So I moved in right next door to him. They were co-ed dorms. Yeah, that's what we lived in dorms on base.
And the first time I saw you, like I guess I hadn't seen you yet, but you had seen me.
Yeah, I think I saw you before you saw me.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I saw him, I was like, woo! Who is that? I need to get to know me that.
get to know. You were like, yeah, give me some of that.
Yeah. I wanted to get to know you too.
Yeah.
It wasn't all just about that.
The first time I saw you was when you asked me for a spoon.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and tell them.
So
that
the
then.
first time I saw her was, I didn't know she was living next to me or anything like that, and somebody knocked on my door, and it was kind of late at night, not late at night, but getting to the evening, and I was like, who the heck's knocking on my door? And then she's there. And
A
I'm
woman
like,
caller.
I'm like, whoa, why is this girl knocking on my door? She's really pretty. I don't know what's going on. And then she asked me for a spoon.
Okay, so I was obviously definitely like trying to throw hints out there, and I had just moved there and I didn't have any silverware, so I thought, hey, I literally don't have any silverware, but I need a reason to talk to this guy. Let me ask him for a spoon, because I was gonna eat some yogurt. I tried to talk to you, and it was very hard to talk to you. Cody is not a conversationalist when you first meet him. He's very like,
what do you want?
He's very closed off. What were you gonna say?
I think basically if I don't know you and you try to talk to me, I was just like, why are you talking to me? What do you want from me?
But he's super nice though, I promise. But you don't seem that way.
No.
I was trying to talk to him, and it wasn't going anywhere because you were like.
And you were like, oh, thanks, just moving.
And I was like,
yeah.
me and some of my friends are gonna go to London this weekend. Have you been there? And he was like, yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, well, do you know anything? Like any ideas of what to do? And he was like, I don't know. I just walked around with my friend, but you could look it up. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
This guy's not interested in me.
And you're just kind of like, thanks for the spoon. I was like, okay, bye. And just like close the door.
Like a few times in a row where me and Cody would like come to our room at the same time to like, unlock our door and come in. And I'm kind of like, I don't know, nerdy or weird or whatever. Yeah. And I looked at him and I was like, oh, we keep running into each other like this. And Cody has a resting bitch face if you don't know him. And you were just like, yeah. You were like, yeah, that's weird. And I went into my room and I almost wanted to cry because it was so mean how you said it, and I don't think you realized how mean it was.
I guess I was like, yeah, that's weird.
I was like, this dude is not interested in me, like at all. And he also thinks I'm a loser.
And later on, I was gonna give you needed a ride to work. And
oh yeah, it was like later. I don't know what happened, but I was late to work one morning, or I was going to be late if I walked, and I didn't have a car yet.
Yeah. And then
so one of our mutual friends.
Yeah, one of our mutual friends came and saw me.
Knew I needed a ride. He's like, oh, let me get Cody for you. And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. And he's like, no, I'm gonna get him. Yeah. And I was just like, fuck.
But I ended up giving her a ride, and the thing was, is at this point I already liked her. But I have kind of naturally low confidence in myself. I used to anyways. So I didn't like really think she was gonna be into me. But so I kind of made an idiot of myself whenever I gave her a ride.
Well, because you felt nervous, so
Yeah.
he talked about himself like the entire time,
Yeah.
and I was just like,
I felt really dumb after she got out. I was like, did I tell you? I just like talked about myself for like 15 minutes.
you did. I was kind of
Shit.
let down,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, he's definitely not interested in me.
Yeah.
So, flash forward to, I decide I want to have a dorm party, and one of our mutual friends came over again. There's another one.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, where's Cody at? And I was like, oh, I think he's next door. And he was like, oh, didn't you invite him? And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, we should get him to come over here. And I was like, no. He acts kind of weird, like, around me. Like, he doesn't want to talk to me. So I don't think that's a good idea. And he was like, I know what's going on.
And the thing is that Alvarez, this guy's name, he knew, I had already talked to him about liking Hope. And I imagine that he had a suspicion that Hope liked me.
At least there was one other person in the universe
Yeah.
that knew what was going on.
Yeah. He was a really cool guy.
I still thank him to this day.
Yeah.
Because he made...
Thank you, Alvarez.
If you're watching
If you're
this,
watching
I don't
this,
know if
thank
he's
you.
watching this.
He came over and said, hey, we're having a party over at Hope's room. You should come over. And I was like, she wants me to come over? And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. And so I got dressed in what I thought was a stylish outfit at the time.
You were wearing a puka shell
A
necklace.
puka shell
What the
necklace.
hell?
And like some, what were they, like pinstripe like
You
pant
looked really
things?
handsome though. I thought you were super hot.
Yeah.
It was happening for me.
Okay.
It was working.
So then ended up standing by the table with a liquor on it.
No, we were talking about music.
Yeah, but there were the
we had a
radio was
couple of
there. We
drinks.
had a few drinks. There were ink drops, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were just talking about music and blah 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 blah, and just wouldn't stop talking to each other. And then Hope decided that we were all gonna go to the
Go
club.
out dancing because
Yeah.
there was a club on base
Yeah,
called the Airmen's Club.
and I did not want to dance. I was like, oh, she's gonna see me dance. I can't dance. I fucking suck at dancing.
And I was already in my woohoo phase,
Yeah.
and I was like, "You're coming to the club. We're
No,
gonna
it
go
was
dance."
she literally forced me to go.
I did.
was like, I don't really want to go.
I'm
I
a
was like,
master
maybe we'll just
persuader.
talk tomorrow or something. And she was like, no, you're coming. We're gonna go and we're gonna dance.
We went to the club.
And then we ended up dancing for
And
hours.
we had so much fun.
Yeah.
We did. And then what did we do after the club?
I gave you a piggyback ride to Subway, I believe.
Yes.
We went and got a footlongs
We each got a foot long.
and devoured those.
Handled it like a boss.
And then I was like, let's go back to my place for a movie.
This was before Netflix was like the whole Netflix and chill was around. So it was like, let's go back to my place and watch a movie and chill.
Well,
We did not watch the movie.
the thing was,
But nothing crazy happened. Just PG-13.
yeah,
PG-13 stuff.
making out, shirts off, stuff.
Okay.
The next morning after that, we didn't have sex or anything.
Baby, I told him it was PG-13.
Okay.
Obviously.
I made her pancakes.
He asked me if I was hungry and wanted breakfast, and I said yes. And he went to the store and he got stuff for pancakes, and he made me a pancake breakfast. And I was like, holy shit.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, it got me. Flash forward to when you proposed to me. It was almost a year later.
Almost.
We had moved in with each other.
in her dorm room.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we were kind of like, it was like an apartment in a
Yeah.
way. Like that.
Which I strongly recommend if you decide like you're thinking about marrying somebody, you better live with them first for at least a solid
a year.
year, yeah, because that changes the fucking game. Living with somebody.
Does
I
it
swear.
change it?
Yes, it does. Absolutely, it does because you see all these other things, see all these other things, see all these other things.
See all these other things.
About people that they don't really show to anybody else until you live with them, and then you're like, this person's fucking crazy,
Right.
or okay, I can live with this.
You can live with the crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're all crazy.
Anyways, so I proposed and we were engaged, but we decided that we weren't going to tie the knot until after.
I had orders to get deployed to Afghanistan, and up until that point, we had never been separated, like for a long period of time, and my deployment was going to be for 4 months. So we felt like it would be the best thing if this was really for real and we were meant to get married and be together, that we could go through the deployment that separation and stay in contact with each other and do long distance. And then after the deployment, depending on how things went, we would get married.
And well, we made it through the deployment, and she came from England over to the States, and we got married.
But then the whole like first year of our marriage, he was stationed in Florida, and I had a year left in England. So we had to do back and forth long distance. And I think that we got to see each other maybe once every like 3 or 4 months, if that.
That was tough.
And one other thing is, while I was finishing my year in England, he got deployed to Afghanistan. So that was like 4.5 months that I didn't get to see you.
Yeah.
And then the way that it worked out is I got orders to follow him over to Florida because we were married. And I got to Florida a week before you got back from Afghanistan. And then we finished the rest of our Air Force career out in Florida.
Bought our first house.
Got our first house together. We got our first puppies together.
Yeah. We got Charlotte.
And then we got Jack
we
a
got
few
Jack.
months later.
Yeah.
And when they were like 3 months old. And we've had them for like 7 years now. Those were our first babies.
First ones. We got married and moved into our house that we bought. That's whenever you started doing all your competition stuff.
Yeah, my bikini competitions. Yeah. Those were some crazy days.
Yeah.
Crazy days.
If you don't know the challenges of being in a relationship and doing competitions, like, bikini or whatever, it's a lot of work. It's really hard.
It is. And it definitely put a lot of stress on our relationship because I was like so focused on my competitions that it definitely, like, I was neglecting our relationship for a while.
Yeah.
So
it was hard.
But we made it through that.
Made it through that.
After, I would say it was about I had a year left of being in the military. I mean, I haven't really spoken about this that much, but I was struggling with depression a lot. A lot of it had to do too with me like being unhappy with where I was in my life. I wasn't happy with being in the military anymore. It just wasn't what I wanted to do with my life, and my grandma started getting like really sick, and I couldn't be there for her as much as I would have liked to because I was in the military. So you only have so much time you can take off, and all I wanted to do was, because I'm from Colorado and we were living in Florida, and I just wanted to be there with her all the time, and I couldn't. And so I had made the decision that I wanted to get out of the military, but that was like super scary for us because
that was like
it was totally different. When we got married, it was like we were going to retire
from the Air Force and stuff.
And then things started going, and I was towards the end of my enlistment, because I signed up for 6 years. I was just like, this isn't what I'm passionate about. Like, I've always wanted to do modeling and help people. And it's crazy how it's turned into what it is now.
We got out. We moved out of our house.
We had to sell our house.
Well, we didn't sell our house yet because we were renting it.
Oh, that's right.
We started renting our house out because we couldn't afford the mortgage without her income. We were living in a little shoebox. And
the thing was, our place was like 600 square feet.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It was insanely small and crazy small.
But from that is when we started her social media business. Like, we started really focusing on Instagram. Like, I would get off of work from the Air Force doing my mechanics stuff.
Like working like 10 hours.
10 hours, sometimes 12-hour days, and then we would go and like take pictures in garages and like, do little photo shoots.
Parking garages.
Parking garages. And like, we started building her social media from there. And then it started to become something, and the idea of me getting out of the military to just completely focus on this was an idea.
Well, yeah, because you started like getting better at photography and videography.
Yeah.
So you were doing that stuff, and then I started my the training business. And then
we finally got to the point.
Started working with different companies on there, and then it started getting to the point where
she was making more money than me from doing that stuff.
You weren't happy in the military.
No,
either.
I mean, like I was tired of it. I was stuck in the same place for years, and I got locked in, so I wasn't going anywhere. And I didn't really want to stay in the Air Force anymore for very much longer. But then something happened that really,
Oh, this is reminding me of like when my grandma passed away.
Yeah.
Because my grandma, that was like a really hard year for us. Or that time when we were in that shitty little small place with cockroaches everywhere.
There was a tragedy in my family. And
we've never talked about it before.
No. It was my sister killed herself, it was a wake-up call for me in a lot of ways that there is no security in life. There is no real structure on which you can really rest and think that you are completely safe, because nothing, not even the Air Force, not even something as so structured as the U.S. government or the government in general, is like strong enough that you can really rely on it. So why, if you can fail and get kicked out or like whatever at something you hate, why not try and fail at something you want to do?
So it's like, why not just go out there and risk it?
So we said, F it. I got out of the Air Force.
Two days after you got out.
We packed up our shit into a U-Haul truck and drove down to Tampa. Like, no connections down there, no anything.
We don't have any family.
We don't have any
here.
family here. We just...
Well, we've been here before, and we really liked it.
We just bounced and came down here and started our... Like, really started focusing on our business with the social media and the, you know, the stuff.
Now, this kind of brings us to Isabel, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
well,
a little bit of a backstory with both of us. I think this has, or I know that this has a lot to do with like why me and Cody can relate to each other so well and why we're as close as we are. But we both had really bad childhoods. I'm not, like, we're not going to go into a lot of details, but like from my side, there was a lot of violence and there was substance abuse at times. You know, I'm not going to speak on like what you went through. Things aren't like, I'm not currently speaking to certain part of my family. I'm not speaking to my dad or my stepmom because they're drug addicts right now. It's really horrible. Things are a lot better with my mom now. And we're good with your parents. Like, it's not all bad, you know, like...
But the point is that we came from backgrounds in which family values didn't really mean a whole lot.
Yeah. So
we did...
When we first, like, before we got married, we talked about everything, like, the important stuff, you know? We talked about kids, and not only did we talk about kids, we talked about when we wanted to have kids and how many kids we wanted to have. And I just think that, and we've always been on the same page, and back then we wanted to, but as things started, like, because we've been together for almost 9 years, and just as the years went on, I think we just got more scared of it because of what we come from.
But then we got to a point where we wanted to make a new family. We wanted to
grow
build
our
upon,
family. Yeah, and then we started realizing, do we really want to let our fear make us miss out on this? You know, we're like, we could be missing out on something so huge. Then we started trying.
And then 3 months later, she was pregnant.
Yeah.
And then we went through the whole pregnancy together. Yeah.
Which that made us even closer.
Like, all the building up to it and everything like that was a lot of fun parts and hard parts, but the actual birthing process, which you guys saw, our birth
story.
It just like life-changing, obviously, and makes our relationship that much stronger. And now that thing's down there.
Yeah, the little beanie is waking.
Yeah, I've been bouncing her this whole time, trying to keep her calm and quiet.
She's been doing good.
Yeah,
she's doing good.
She's waking up.
She's just a fidgety little bean right now.
Yeah.
So, that is me and Cody's love story. It's how we met. Kind of like some things of what we've been through and what's gotten us to where we are now. One of the things I want to say really quick is I know that I've said before to some of you guys, like, you'll never know how much your support and love means to us, but I mean, already, like, kind of what I spoke about how I'm not talking to some of my parents because of their lifestyle choices. Like, it was really, really hard for me while I was pregnant because I wasn't talking to them. I went from being super close and talking with somebody for years, and then, you know, their addictions started getting the better of them, and they started turning into totally different people.
They don't even care.
They didn't give a shit about Isabel. The point that I'm trying to get at is the more and more that our channel keeps growing and the more love that we get from you guys, like, it means the world to me because so many of you care. Like, you're so loving and you're so supportive and you're so just the comments that you leave are so sweet, and you're excited for us and we're excited for all of you. And I feel like while we have bad family stuff going on, like, all of us
It helps
on
to have-
YouTube are like, it's becoming its own
Yeah.
family. Yeah,
So-
there's just a lot of love in this video.
Oh my god.
OMG.
Well, I hope you enjoyed learning about our love story, and I hope you enjoyed the video.
Yeah. And we love you guys, and we will catch you later.
Thanks for watching.